Sanctions have long been a tool of foreign policy, a way for nations to exert pressure without resorting to military action. But when it comes to the West's sanctions against Russia, the results have been less than effective. Let's unpack why that is. First, we need to understand the scale and scope of these sanctions. Initially imposed in response to Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, these measures targeted key sectors of the Russian economy, including finance, energy, and defense. The idea was to cripple Russia's economic capabilities and deter further aggression. However, the reality is far more complex. One major reason for the sanctions' failure is Russia's ability to adapt. The Russian government has shown remarkable resilience and resourcefulness. They quickly pivoted to strengthen ties with non-Western countries, particularly China and India. This shift has allowed them to find alternative markets for their oil and gas, effectively bypassing Western restrictions. In fact, Russia has become one of the largest oil suppliers to China, which has helped cushion the blow of sanctions. Moreover, the Russian economy has a unique structure that allows it to withstand external pressures better than many anticipated. With a significant portion of its economy based on natural resources, Russia has leveraged its energy exports to maintain a steady flow of revenue. Even with sanctions, global demand for oil and gas remains high, and Russia has managed to keep its economy afloat. Another factor is the unity, or lack thereof, among Western nations. While the initial response to Russia's actions was strong, maintaining that unity over time has proven challenging. Different countries have varying degrees of reliance on Russian energy. For instance, European nations, particularly those in Eastern Europe, have been more vulnerable to the impacts of sanctions due to their energy dependence. This has led to calls for easing sanctions, creating cracks in the Western coalition. Additionally, the sanctions have had unintended consequences. They have fostered a sense of nationalism within Russia, rallying citizens around their government in the face of perceived external aggression. Instead of weakening Putin's grip on power, the sanctions have, in many ways, strengthened it. The narrative of a besieged fortress resonates with many Russians, making them more resistant to the pressures from the West. Let's not forget the role of the black market and illicit trade. Sanctions often give rise to underground economies. In Russia, this has meant that while official channels may be restricted, goods and services continue to flow through alternative means. This undermines the effectiveness of sanctions, as they fail to fully isolate the target economy. Lastly, we must consider the geopolitical landscape. The rise of multipolarity means that countries like Russia can find allies who are willing to defy Western sanctions. Nations that are themselves facing sanctions or have contentious relationships with the West are often more than willing to engage in trade with Russia, further diluting the impact of Western measures. In conclusion, the failure of Western sanctions against Russia is a multifaceted issue. It's not just about the economic measures themselves, but also about Russia's adaptability, the unity of the West, and the broader geopolitical dynamics at play. Understanding these complexities is crucial for any future strategy aimed at influencing Russia's actions on the global stage.